What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So never mind election polls and predictions. Instead of that now, we have anti-Semitic polls, trying to gauge how anti-Semitic Jeremy Corbyn or his supporters are. Which is absolutely incredible if you ask me, but probably something that needs to be done, or does it even really need to be done considering it's common knowledge that a lot of Corbyn supporters are anti-Semitic. Anyway, the Telegraph is running an article talking about these polls. It says Jeremy Corbyn's most ardent supporters more likely to be anti-Semitic. Surprise, surprise to absolutely no one. Jeremy Corbyn's most ardent supporters are more likely to be anti-Semitic than those of other party leaders, according to the first analysis of its kind. A YouGov poll found that more than 1 in 3, 35% of those who strongly like the Labour leader, agreed with 4 or more statements deemed to be anti-Semitic, while 58% held 2 or more such views. Once again, I am not surprised by this at all. The proportion of ardent supporters of Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson and Jo Swinson who agreed with 4 or more of the statements was significantly less, at 24%, 21% and 18% respectively. The polling is contained in a report by the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, whose chief executive, Gideon Falter, claims in a foreword that the leader of the once fiercely anti-racist Labour Party is now the candidate of choice for anti-Jewish racists. In a separate survey as part of the campaign group's annual anti-Semitism barometer, 42% of British Jews said they had considered leaving the UK in the last 2 years, a record high. Some 85% of those considering moving to another country listed their main reasons as anti-Semitism in political parties. And it says here, more than a quarter of Labour voters would consider not voting for a party again due to anti-Semitism allegations. The question was, allegations of anti-Semitism within the Labour Party make me think twice about voting Labour. 27% agreed, 47% disagreed, 10% said they didn't know, and 9% said neither agree nor disagree. So just over a quarter of Labour supporters care that Jeremy Corbyn and the party is being accused of anti-Semitism. Maybe that's their old original voters, that 27%. Maybe that's what's left and the rest of them are all the Corbynistas. Meanwhile, 84% of respondents regarded Mr Corbyn as posing a threat to British Jews, compared to 15% who said they held such a view about Mr Johnson. Yeah, Boris is as woke as they come. I don't think you really need to worry about him. In my opinion, Boris is far too woke. The report comes after Mr Corbyn declined to apologise to British Jews after Ephraim Mevis, the chief rabbi, criticised how Labour has dealt with anti-Semitism within the party. A third poll by Savanta Comres for the Telegraph found that 44% of people believe Ribby Mevis was correct to say that Mr Corbyn's handling of anti-Semitism allegations makes him unfit for high office. There's many things that make him unfit for high office in my opinion. Anti-Semitism might just be one of them. According to the poll, 51% of people believe that Labour has a particular problem with anti-Semitism, and 34% think the problem will increase in the UK if Mr Corbyn wins the election, compared to 29% who disagreed. Oh, if Corbyn wins the election, anti-Semitism will increase. I'll guarantee that almost certainly. That's probably almost as certain as the fact that Corbyn will destroy the country and the economy. Some 25% said Islamophobia would increase in the UK if Mr Johnson wins. Although 34% disagreed, but 61% said it was not acceptable to describe women in burqas as looking like letterboxes and bank robbers, as Mr Johnson did in a column last year. A YouGov poll of 2,040 people carried out before the general election was called asked respondents to what extent they liked Mr Corbyn, Mr Johnson, Mr Farage and Mr Swinson. I cannot believe it says Mr Swinson there. What a typo. On a scale of 1 for strongly dislike to 5 for strongly like. In each case, respondents were asked whether they agreed or disagreed with 13 different statements relating to Jews and Israel, 12 of which the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism said were anti-Semitic. They included 6 Judophobic claims, including that British Jewish people chase money more than other British people, and compared to other groups, Jewish people have too much power in the media. The statements also include statements reflecting anti-Zionist, anti-Semitism based on examples set out in the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism, including that Israel treats the Palestinians like Nazis treated the Jews. And here is the poll here. Jeremy Corbyn's failure to tackle anti-Semitism within his own party shows he is unfit to be Prime Minister. And yet most people strongly agree. An analysis of the YouGov data carried out by Dr. Daniel Allington, a senior lecturer at King's College London, found that 60% of those identifying as very left-wing agreed that Israel treats the Palestinians like the Nazis treated the Jews. Well, we all know what the left are like, so really that doesn't surprise me too much, to be honest. Dr. Allington also found out that the more intensely respondents supported Mr. Corbyn, the more likely they were to hold multiple anti-Semitic views. Some 37% of those who strongly disliked Mr. Corbyn agreed with 2 or more anti-Semitic statements, with the figure gradually rising to 58% for those who strongly liked the Labour leader. Somehow I don't think 37% to 58% is gradual in any sense of the word. The report states, while the relationship between holding anti-Semitic views and supporting any of Mr. Farage, Johnson's and Miss Swinson, they got it right this time at least, appears weak, there seems to be a much stronger relationship between holding anti-Semitic opinions and supporting the Commissar. What a surprise. The leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, appears to be the candidate of choice for many anti-Semites. Overall, 36% of those surveys agreed to 2 or more of the statements, with 18% subscribing to 4 or more. Some 39% of those who voted for Labour in 2017 held 2 or more anti-Semitic views, according to Dr. Allington's analysis, compared to 34% of those who voted Conservative. The separate survey of 3,547 British Jews carried out in October was based on a self-selecting sample and mirrored a poll carried out annually since 2016. Last month, Mr. Corbyn said racism is absolutely not acceptable in any form whatsoever in my party or in our society. Labour insists it would guarantee the security of the Jewish community and defend and support the Jewish way of life. Now that there says something. No other party, to my knowledge, has come out and said that they can guarantee the security of the Jewish community because they don't have to. It's extremely telling that the Labour leader has to say that. No other party in the country, and in probably most countries around the world, would actually have to make a statement like that. But the leader of the Labour Party actually has to come out and say that he will defend the Jewish community rather than it just being a given like everybody else. I guess it goes to show what the Labour Party are actually like. A Labour Party spokesman claimed that 2 polls from 2015 and 2017 showed higher anti-Semitic attitudes among Conservative voters than Labour, and that a 2017 report found these views are most prevalent on the right of the political spectrum. Of course they are, Labour. This is what you do. You deflect it off onto the Tories. We see the same thing yesterday with Sadiq Khan and the London Bridge attack, blaming it on Tory cuts. Absolute joke. Why don't you just own up when your party's been found out to be a shit pit, for fuck's sake? Have some backbones, you spineless fuck pigs. The spokesperson added the Labour Party is fully committed to the support, defence and celebration of the Jewish community and continues to take robust action to root out anti-Semitism out of our party with swift suspensions, new rapid expulsion processes and an education programme. In government, Labour will introduce education on anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, xenophobia and racism in the national curriculum, making attacks on places of worship an aggravated offence, and to work with social media platforms to tackle prejudice and division online. In other words, to work with social media platforms to control the internet and control what you say and do, or hide what their own supporters say and do. Because obviously they don't want the newspapers bringing more of the party members or political candidates anti-Semitic or outright racist tweets to light, like has been the case recently. Well, I'm sure that article surprises absolutely no one. We all know what the Labour Party's like, it's common knowledge. It's not even really up for debate anymore. We've had countless Labour MPs coming out, calling them out for it and quitting the party or refusing to stand again. Like, you don't need any more evidence than that. A YouGov poll just adds weight to that, I suppose, although it's a poll. But what we do know is the Labour Party are being investigated by the European Court of Human Rights, the first political party in the UK to have that happen since the BNP. So that says it all if you ask me. But on that note, I will end the video there. I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
This Parliament is a dead Parliament. It should no longer sit. It has no moral right to sit on these green benches. They don't like the truth. Twice they have been asked to let the electorate decide upon whether they should continue to sit in their seats, while they block 17.4 million people's votes. This Parliament is a disgrace. But they're too cowardly to give it a go. But the time is coming. The time is coming, Mr. Speaker, when even these turkeys won't be able to prevent Christmas.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.